So, family, this amazing story comes from the Boston Herald. A fired state police trooper who was saved by Narcan won't face any charges because the DA will not bring charges. Unlike the citizens, if any citizen was caught doing what this guy did, and trust me, if any citizen was caught with doing what this guy did, they would face some charges. But, he's a police officer, though, so they are not held to the same standard as citizens, which is kind of sad because you would think that they'll be held to a higher standard. But when it comes to cops, they are held to a much lower standard. And so back on May the 7th of 2021, which is last year, Matthew Kelly was a state trooper, and he was found on a bathroom floor by his wife, who then dialed 911. And when emergency services arrived, they gave him Narcan, and Narcan is used to reverse an opioid overdose. And with that being said, the questions that we got to ask is, how would such a high level of opioids get into this man's system unless he was doing it intentionally or had something that was accidental? But this doesn't look to be accidental, despite the fact it was described as a medical event, which is a far cry from what it actually was. And so despite the fact that it became pretty clear that there was something going on here, this man faced no charges, and he was only dishonorably discharged from the state police. And that is interesting because Massachusetts, being that it is so pro-police, even though it's a so-called blue state, it is very interesting that he lost his job, because I know for a fact there are many cops in Massachusetts who have done a whole lot of stuff that should not only cost them to lose their job, but also land them behind bars. So the fact that this guy lost his job meant that perhaps the event embarrassed police in Massachusetts. So let's look a little bit deeper into this story, because there's something else that I think you're going to find interesting, because I certainly did. And so according to an Internal Affairs document, it was discovered that Matthew Kelly had a whole bunch of stuff that would symbolize that this was not an accidental overdose, that he just did stuff on the regular. So with that being said, it's also very, very interesting, given that there's actual confirmation that he does this, that he faced no charges. But once again, cops are held to a lower standard than you, the citizen.